Welcome back. The goal of a research paper is to pull information from a variety of sources. As you research, you should be keeping track of all your sources. When you're ready to begin writing, make sure you give those sources proper credit. This video will help guide you in properly formatting your footnotes and your bibliography in the Chicago Humanities style. The information provided comes from Diana Hacker's A Pocket Style Manual. First, let's look at how you insert a footnote. Whether you use Microsoft Word or Google Docs, click Insert, then Footnote. Your footnote should be inserted after any punctuation marks. So if your quotation closes at the end of a sentence, you should have the period, quotation mark, and then the footnote number. If you're inserting a footnote for something you have paraphrased, the same rule would apply without the quotation mark. And if you're continuing your sentence after the snippet, again, the number still goes outside of the quotation mark. So, what goes into the footnote itself? This can get a little tricky because it changes each time you cite that particular source. The first time you cite a source in a footnote, follow this model. Include the author's name, first then last, and then the title. In parentheses, include the publication information, and then end with a page number when applicable. If your next footnote comes from the same source, you can simply write ibid, short for ibidem, an old Latin word that means from the same place, and to not have to put anything more. Let's say you move to a new source and then want to cite that original one again. From now on, you can include an abbreviated version of the citation that includes the author's last name, a shortened form of the title, and the page or pages cited. When you have finished writing and inserting all of your footnotes, it's time to focus on your bibliography. First, make sure you include all sources that you incited in your footnotes, plus all sources that you consulted but didn't end up citing. A good rule of thumb is that if you learned something new while reading it, you should include it as a consulted source. Your bibliography page should have your last name and the page number at the top, just as if it was a part of your essay. Center the word bibliography, but do not bold or underline it. Then, list your sources alphabetically. Ignore the words a, an, or the when alphabetizing. Each entry should start flush with the left margin, but then you should create a hanging indent for any content that flows onto the next line. Often, both Word and Google Docs are weird, and you cannot just hit Tab. Instead, you must push Return to go to the next line and then tab over. Single space the entire bibliography and include one extra line between entries. If you have two sources from one author, you can omit the author's name and replace it with 3 hyphens in all subsequent entries. And that, my friends, is how you format your footnotes and your bibliography in the Chicago Humanities style.